Shalom, brothers and sisters. Shalom, brothers and sisters. Giving honor and praise unto the Most High, the Creator and the Maker of heaven and earth. My name is Yeshaya Yisrael of the tribe of Dan of the nation of Israel. This particular teaching, brothers and sisters, this particular presentation is a part two of what we did 2 nights ago on the same particular channel. I want to, on a human level, say thank you to the people who watched it, who may have commented on it, who may have shared it, and so forth and so on. In this particular one, we're going to continue on where we left off. And I want to make a disclaimer. I am not in any way, shape, form, or fashion trying to disrespect any black man. I am not trying to, brothers and sisters, try to say that our people intended on evil in the first place in this kind of presentation. All right. We have in the past, as people of color, said as black people, have been noted for saying that sisters or black women have played games. Some have. But we want to point out, brothers and sisters, that there are men, there are brothers who also play games. So, in that particular aspect, what we have to realize is that we as a people have been playing each other. We as a people have been insulting each other's intelligence. You understand? And so, once it comes down to that, we have to realize that we have to do right and better by each other. Okay? So, brothers and sisters, we want to use the laser pointer in this particular case, and it is the games men play on women. This presentation is due to the fact that online and in real life, there are women who believe the fantasy that some men present. This is a part two of this series. Brothers and sisters, let us continue, if we will, to the next slide. Explanation of the matter. Last time, we explained that the idea of a man saying he knows 20 black women that will feed him, fight for him, give him a ride, and pray for him is a man that is weak. Now, what do I mean by saying the aspect of saying that that man is weak? Is because, as we spoke before about the aspect of what is said as an alpha male, will be a man that's going to want to be the one to do certain things. He's going to want to be the one to not necessarily show himself as arrogant, but show himself as reliable. Because, as we pointed out before, women generally look for a sense of security, men look for a sense of warmth. You understand? And though it is practiced by some people in Israel, or that's to say among the Israelites, about polygyny, it was never condoned about the aspect of a man having 20 wives. You understand? So let's go on to the next part. This is due to the fact that an alpha male will not want a woman to do certain things for him. He will want to, if anything, impress her, not wait for her to do for him. So, as we pointed out in the past, there is, yes, a distinction between a man who is waiting for a woman or expect a woman to do certain things, whereas a woman, certainly among our people, having to sit there, in many cases, having to be compelled to be mother and father, in certain cases, having to be compelled to have to sit there and feed the children, and she may not eat or eat to her own satisfaction, having to sit there and be the one to go up to the school for the child, having to be the one to have to sit there and take the time off, having to sit there and trying to start a relationship, and then she's worried about whether or not this is a good role model for her own children, and so forth and so on. So when you're looking at, brothers and sisters, this particular case, and we see as we go on over in the past 2 nights ago, when one person was saying in a meme that he knows 20 black women who will do X, Y, and Z for him. That's not the kind of character that we want to endorse as a people, brothers and sisters. All right? This is not to say that women should not do things for a man. This is to say that a man should not expect, hope, wait for a woman to do things as opposed to getting counsel on how he can do things. And as stated, women generally look for a sense of security within a man. Now, let me explain a little what I mean when I say this sense of security. That is the aspect of saying, can he take care of her spiritually, economically, socially, financially? Now, let me explain these points verbatim. When I say socially, for instance, let's say that he and her are out in society, right? Is he going to sit there and have her, for instance, walk on the side of where the street is at, or is he going to do it? Is he going to expect her to be the one to carry the bags and he holds nothing? You understand? These are the kinds of things that we're talking about once it comes down to edification purposes, once it comes down to that. All right? Now, brothers and sisters, when I speak about the aspect of financially, it was pointed out some time ago that when a man becomes married to a woman, he inherits her as a wife and also her family. So now you also inherit a mother, your mother-in-law, father, father-in-law, brother-in-law, sister-in-law, and so forth and so on. When a man marries a woman, he doesn't only just marry that one individual, he also marries into her family. But if he is not in the aspect, brothers and sisters, of social and financial, he does not understand that. He doesn't understand that at times he may have to sit there and give over to his wife's brother. You understand? He may have to sit there and be the one to sit there and help out his mother-in-law in a particular matter. But the selfish mindset of a man, the one that doesn't have, say, like the alpha male concept and so forth and so on, he's going to sit back and say, well, can't she do it? Can't they do it? Because as we went over in the meme 2 nights ago, we're going to show, brothers and sisters, how that same kind of meme and foolishness leads into these kind of things. Okay? When we speak about the aspect, brothers and sisters, of spiritually being her source of stay, you may say, is I remember watching a thing on Dave Chappelle, and the skit was saying about the Ku Klux Klan asking a black family to move out the neighborhood. And the first thing that happened is the woman looked up to the man to see what is he going to do. You understand? So that right there just goes to sit there and show that in most cases and in generality, she looks to him for leadership. You understand? That's very, very important for edification purposes. Next slide, please. Susan, the girlfriend, and Sandra. Now, what we're getting into before we even show the particular meme itself, brothers and sisters, is just to show what we're talking about the aspect of, quote, an alpha male and the one that is not. Now, Sandra Bland, may she rest in peace, was a person, all right, that is now dead. She was assaulted, brothers and sisters, by the police. Now, the understanding of whether or not she took her own life or whether or not she was murdered, that's still being up in discussion. But we do know for edification and unfortunate knowledge purpose is the fact that she was violated and assaulted and disrespected by the police in this particular aspect. Now, that's who we're looking at here as far as that goes. Then when we see it can't be him, accused cop's girlfriend, Justin would not do this to Allah's. Now, what you're looking at here in the Daily News on the bottom is a black woman by the name of Susan, who is or was, brothers and sisters, the girlfriend of a particular cop who sodomized a man named Abner Louima back in the 1990s. Now, what is the point in showing this and line in what we're talking about? Is because the man that doesn't want to be, quote, the alpha male is not going to sit there and be the one to want to fight for Sandra Bland. He's going to sit there and be okay with a black woman with the white cop saying, oh, okay, well, it just is what it is. Because he already feels he has his quota, his 20 women already fulfilled in his life. And we're going to show why we emphasize that number 20 as we go along in this particular case. All right. Now, Sandra Bland was assaulted, and many understood her to be slain by the police. The police who were involved in her were they found held guilty? Let's see. 9 times out of 10, no. So let's go on. Susan was the girlfriend of the cop Justin Volpe, who sodomized Abner Louima in the bathroom. Now, that situation with Abner Louima and Justin Volpe, brothers and sisters, happened in New York when he took a plunger and shoved it up the black man's behind. When the lady that you see there, Susan, who was the guy's girlfriend and also a cop herself, when she went into work, they was looking at her and telling her that her man, if you will, who happened to be the police officer that was guilty of that charge, was saying that he did this. And she said, no, it can't be. Then later on, he confessed to it, and he's now doing 30 years in jail, brothers and sisters. And while incarcerated in Florida, he married, guess what, a lady, a white lady, while he's still incarcerated. So now she left with nobody unless she just got either another white man or by herself or whatever. So these are things, brothers and sisters, that we want to sit there and show about what is going on with our sisters. The other day, I made a post in the aspect of saying that we are losing, as a people, our women. Women who want to be with women, and women who don't care to even sit there and be with a man, and women who don't care to be with the black man. And as we can see, it's two examples of both. One woman who's now dead, and the other one who probably in the world don't know what to do, perhaps. So these are things when you're not dealing in an aspect and it's not to sit there and bash or down the black man, but when you don't want to be, quote, the alpha male, when you don't want to be seen as the one as a security and advisor in the sisters' lives, these are the results that they feel they got to choose to go to. She may have felt that she got to sit there and try to sit there and get back and forth with the police because she may have felt being alone in a car, don't know her personal business that particular day, brothers and sisters, she's now gone. Where is the soldiers or the warriors or even the politicians that's standing up for this particular case? That's the problem with the black man that's saying he already has his aspect of women that's already fulfilled in his life. You understand? That's the situation and the problem in that particular case. So let's go on, if you will, to the next part. The game played, a sister slain. Now, the way in which I set this PowerPoint up is so that way you will see the caption, and then I will speak a little bit about it, and then you'll see the pictures of what we're talking about. Right? Now, we're going to go over, brothers and sisters, the meme that we've been talking about. The meme that we went over, say, 2 nights ago is the same one that you see on the top left-hand side. I really hate the myth that black women are hard to deal with. I know 20 black women. See why we kept on talking about that number 20? This is what we want to sit there and expose, this top part right here. I know 20 black women who will pull up on me right now with a smile if I need it. So let's go back, brothers and sisters, and see what we were talking about. We can sit there and see there's one black woman right here. There's another one right here, brothers and sisters. All right. And brothers and sisters, we see another one slain right here. So that's 3. So I don't know what 20 that this man is talking about, but so far we went over 3. 2 of them are dead. Now, the other one, brothers and sisters, wasn't even with the brother. So let's see what's going on. All right, because according to this person is saying, I know 20 black women who will pull up on me right now, with a smile, if I need it. Feed me, give me a ride, fight for me, pray for me. Half the black men perpetrating the lie have used and abused the dog shit out of our women. So what the F are y'all even talking about? How dare you turn around and forget her patience with your ashy ass antics? Now, why am I even going into this particular aspect? It's because, brothers and sisters, when this particular thing was presented, you had it to where there were people, sisters online, like, wow, amazing. This is awesome. No, sister, he's gaming and playing you like a fool. This is not awesome. As we went over 2 nights ago, if you one of those 20 women, guess what? You will not get marriage, commitment, loyalty, and respect. Because a man cannot handle no 20 women economically, socially, financially, and spiritually. So if you just happy as a sister, being one of the 20 who's, quote, feeding, giving a ride, and fighting for and praying for him, this is perhaps why we see Nia Wilson dead. This particular sister that you see there on the left-hand side on the bottom was slain by a European, a white man in California last year, and there were black men, not hitting on them, at the same train station. They were on the train. They came out, her and two of her sisters, and one of them got stabbed, and the one that you see right there got her throat slashed, and she died inside the train station. But yet we see the black man up there in certain cases saying that I know 20 black women who can do this. So where are we at if we seeing black men on Facebook and the social media hoping that the black woman fight for him? Where are we going to fight for her? That's the point in this kind of presentation. While our sisters have been getting killed, literally getting, their asses beat by the police, literally, we see in 2019 the black man saying that he knows 20 black women who can fight for him. Now we could begin to see, I hope, the problem in the aspect of saying he knows 20 women, whoever this guy was who made this particular meme. Do we now see the problem, brothers and sisters? Because if you expect her to fight for you, who is she fighting against? Men with knives, men with batons, men with walkie-talkies and guns? That's who you expect her to step up against? Where is the aspect of the alpha male among the brothers? But the women who this particular thing is speaking to are women in 8 times out of 10 who were raised with no fathers around. Because a woman who already had seen a strong role model in her life knows, that this right here is nonsense. No, I'm not going to drop the other word, but it's that too. Last time we went over the word ashpa, which means garbage. You understand? So this is something we want to sit there and talk about for edification purposes. So as you sit there and expect her to fight for you, we see the result. We see Nia Wilson, and if that wasn't enough, which it was, years ago, we see Sandra Bland. And if that wasn't enough, years before that, we see the black women fighting for the white man. So where's your 20 black women fighting for you? If you can sit there and show them in a picture in a meme, if you can sit there and show them in a PowerPoint, please let me know. Because these 20 women you're talking about, I can sit there and promise you there is no longevity. There is no promised future. There is no 5-year plan. You understand what I'm saying? So let's go on, if we will, so we can see what we're talking about. Nia Wilson was a sister who was slain by a white man in a train station in California. The murderer's name is John Cowell. He was arrested the week of the murder. And here we see the person who did the crime. Brothers and sisters, the person who put the plunger inside of Abner Louima's behind was a white man, Justin Volpe, who's now married to a white woman while he's still incarcerated, a white woman from Staten Island. And here we see John Cowell, who's also now incarcerated. But what the black man generally in this particular presentation is shown doing, y'all black men got ashy ass antics, and I know 20 women who can fight for you. Well, I just sat there and just shown 3 sisters, 2 of them are dead. The other one, who knows what in the world is going on in her life. See, this particular aspect that we're talking about right here, it says, I really hate the myth that black women are hard to deal with. There are some black women that are hard to deal with, but that's not what we're talking about right now. I know 20 black women who will pull up on me right now with a smile if I need it. And I know of sisters that are now dead, brothers and sisters. And brothers and sisters, what we want to do, if we will, all right, I want to read something that comes from the book that I wrote, the book, updated book on Deuteronomy, the 28th chapter, if we will, right? It's available on lulu.com. But I want to read something out of this, right? And this is for those who happen to have the updated book. It says on page 44, an example of the discomfiture. New York Times reported on December 17th, 2018, that Jasmine Heatley was separated by force from her son at a city agency. Another example of discomfiture. Here is a list of Black people who were murdered by the police department. Shalina Lyles in Seattle, Shukri Ali in Georgia, Deborah Dana in New York, Rekia Boyd in Chicago, Maya Hall in Maryland, Miriam Carey in Washington, Natasha McKenna in California, Yvette Smith in Texas, Darnisha Harris in Louisiana, Alicia Thomas in California, Chantel Davis in New York. Now that is listed inside of the book that I wrote on Deuteronomy, the 28th chapter. Now let's go over that, brothers. Those are 10 names that we just read. But instead of the Black man trying to solve his problem, not being able to step up for the sisters and not trying to sit there, brothers and sisters, and have it to where he can be seen as a protector and as her security and her advisor, he wants to sit there and this particular meme, sit there and play on sisters' vulnerability, play brothers and sisters on sisters' loneliness, play brothers and sisters on the fact that sisters have been feeling abandoned and neglected and saying, I'm gonna get 20 of y'all and y'all 20 is gonna feed me, smile for me, give me a ride. Not talking about putting no gas back in the tank, not talking about I'm gonna buy the food and we're gonna get these plates and I'm gonna find out your favorite color and I'm gonna get this forks that you picked out, sweetheart, and you cook the food and that I worked for and bring it. That dude does not have that kind of premise in his mind. That's the problem. That's why that dude, brothers and sisters, John Cowell knew that he could just run up on the train, off the train, and slay the sister, because he, and believe it or not, we was like, well, we don't want to talk about our problems on social media. The whole world knows that our brothers don't step up for our sisters. And when you find somebody trying to supposedly speak on behalf of the sisters, as in this particular meme, he is not trying to sit there and tell a Black man to step up. He is telling the Black man what he needs to do is sit there and just have these 20 that's going to do this, that, and the third for him. That's the problem. A big problem. Let's go on to the next slide so we can see that for edification purposes. Don't let people tell you this is wrong. Sisters, yes, you are worth a wedding. So let's see what we were talking about. This right here is a picture that I got from Google Images about a Black man, a brother marrying a sister. You know how many women don't see themselves doing this? Many, too many, far too many who do not see themselves doing what we're talking about and showing in this particular aspect. So how does this tie into the game that's being played by the meme that we spoke of a little while ago? I don't have to do this because as long as I tell her that other men, such as they who will want a commitment are not good, I can then tell her, to feed me. I never have to buy the food. Drive me. I never have to buy the gas. Fight for me. I never have to fight for her. I never have to propose marriage. And if she does not care, I already got my 20. See the problem with that? See, we want to go back, brothers and sisters, to where we was at, right here. where it says, I really hate the myth that black women are hard to deal with. I know 20 black women who will pull up on me right now with a smile if I need it. That will feed me, give me a ride, fight for me, pray for me. Half the black men perpetrating the lie, supposedly it's a lie, saying that black women are hard to deal with, right? Have used and abused the dog shit out of our women. So now you already see what the person is honing in on. For those who were used as harsh as dog shit, and those who were abandoned, I'm here. And I'm going to gather y'all 20 and we're going to do something great. Because I'm going to sit back and just talk down to the men that were in your past. I'm going to talk down to the men that sat there that you had a poor choice in using. I'm going to talk down to the men that did not have a fatherly upbringing. And I'm going to sit there and tell these men, for you, my harem of 20 women, this bull crap right here. How dare you turn around and forget her patience with your ashy ass antics? She was rooting for you. Rooting for us in what? So you're going to take the women that were with men that were hurt by men and they now become part of your 20? You don't want to sit there and get your own lady. You want to sit there and deal with one who's hurt by her past and then try to curtail that one to work for you, to feed you, to pray for you, to drive you, and to fight and so forth for you. See, that kind of spirit that we see right here, once it comes down to this meme or so right here, is not going to sit there and quote unquote knuckle up on this fool right here that we see by the name of John Cowell. He ain't going to knuckle up on him. He ain't going to knuckle up on Zimmerman, who sat there and blasted the guy Trayvon Martin. No, he expects her, as he said right here, to fight for him. So these are things we want to talk about for edification purposes. In a nutshell, this meme and the men who promote that, my sisters, are playing on your loneliness. They're playing on your aspect of being abandoned, and they're playing on an aspect of having no kind of future with you. And this is why we wanted to show the aspect, even though some people feel what they feel about a wedding, be it you do it at a parent's house, be it you do it at a congregation, be it you do it at, quote, justice of the peace. Sit there and have some kind of value and respect for the woman you want to spend the rest of your life with, and do something of that sort. Let her know that she is that special one in your life. This is what I mean in part when I say about dealing with her socially. Don't sit there and try to hide your marriage. Well, like, well, you ain't got to acknowledge who I am right here. Like you're on a back burner. Don't do that. You understand? So this is something, brothers and sisters, we want to point out for edification purposes. All right? Next slide. The spirit of the memes game. I know 20 women that will feed me, smile for me, drive me right now. I don't have to have a commitment. She will even undress for me with a smile and be okay because I tell her that other men are not worth her happiness. So when you expect her to smile for you, let's look at Luke Campbell from the 1990s. He has a harem of women that we see all right here. They're smiling, they all right there, they're holding their private parts, and so forth and so on. This is part of an album that came out in the 1990s. You remember Luke Campbell that was working with the quote unquote 2 Live Crew with their songs talking about it's your birthday, pop that coochie, and so forth and so on. This is the kind of stuff that meme leads to. Because if you're talking about you got 20 women, what are you doing with those 20 women, my friend, if you're not doing marriage? If you're not, even they say, okay, Israelites don't do the wedding ring. Well, Isaac gave Rebecca jewelry. He gave her a bracelet. And when Laban, Rebecca's brother, saw all of that, like, uh-oh, he got substance. He's good. Laban was thinking on the other aspect. But Isaac was coming with not just, hey, I'm me and I got my penis. Isaac didn't come with just that. You understand? And so the point I'm saying is, once it comes down to the aspect of culture, once it comes down to the aspect of having kabod, or that is to say respect, there are certain things you just won't and should not do. You understand? So when you're talking about the aspect of you have 20 women right now that will fight for you, we already see what happened with the sisters getting killed. Nobody was fighting for them because certain men are waiting for the women to fight for him. Crazy. Then you got the aspect of the marriage thing. And because there's no marriage proposal and that kind of meme, we see the generation with Luke Campbell in the 1990s. These women are now in their 40s and 50s. And all they can do is look back and say, damn, this is what I portrayed. These are the things that we're talking about for edification purposes. My daughter is not supposed to grow up and be one of these women. Of the sisters biologically I have, they're not supposed to be one of these women. Your mother is not supposed to be one of these. There's a picture we're going to present in part 3 of this when it says in 2040, hey, here's a picture of your grandmother. And it looks like one of this. And then you can show your grandmother today's time, brothers and sisters, that is of the Harriet Tubman looking aspect. That's why in another presentation, we spoke about the aspect between the generation, say, of Harriet Tubman, who was fighting for men and who had men on her team fighting for her as a unit, like Deborah and Barak. One had each other's back as a team. Not, I'm going to just stand here and you feed me and fight for me. Would you just expect to sit there and get fat? You just sit there and expect as a man to be like Luke Campbell? Brothers and sisters, that's what you expect? Yeah, with that kind of presentation, because that person and that spirit and that ideology, when we told this one here, the spirit of the memes game, that's the kind of women that you expect to have as part of your 20 that's doing this, that, and the third. Next slide, please. You crumple that garbage up. The other game played. And as we can see right here, the brother and one of the other women. The game is that she can say she won't treat him like the black woman has hurt him. He then is led to believe that she, quote, white woman, must be better than black women. Since, too, the distinction between black women and sister has not been taught, he is led to believe that, quote, all black females are alike. What are we going over in this? When we talk about the aspect of the games that's being played, this is the other side of it. I'm not like the ones that hurt you, man. I'm not like the ones who are gold diggers, man. I'm not like the ones who try to sit there and when you said, hey, I hope you have a good time on your anniversary of your birth. Oh, I thought you were sending me money. What? You understand? So these are things, brothers and sisters, that we want to sit there and talk about for edification purposes. Just as much as that meme plays on the hurt of sisters, so do these kind of women that you see on the left-hand side play on the hurt of men. There is a meme that went around promoting a website called this right here. I'm going to type it in first, right? It's called blackmenvent.com. That is an actual website. Somebody took that website, sat there and posted a picture with it, and sat there and presented this kind of thing right here. Of course, now when you go to that site, that's not what that site is promoting. But somebody took that site, blackmenvent.com, which does exist, and put this kind of picture with it to try to sit there and say that all women of color are sitting up there and doing certain things that's causing us brothers to not want to sit there and deal with them. You understand? I remember being in college and there was a lady that was saying that I would never, speaking to me, that I personally would never date one of them, like Caucasian women. I was like, nah, that's not really my cup of tea. I wouldn't do that. And so I said to her, I said, well, how do you know that I wouldn't do that? And she said that there's a certain kind of aspect or vibe that you speak. She, white women talking to me when I was in college, was saying that there's a certain kind of aspect of vibe that you would sit there and not do that kind of thing. And I was just like, oh, okay. Well, all right. I don't know what she saw, but I certainly still can vibe and say I will not date them because that's just not my cup of tea. You understand? When you read, brothers and sisters, in the scriptures about the alien woman or the strange women that make it smooth her words, I'm not like them that hurt you in the past. I'm not the gold diggers. I'm not going to keep your kids away from you. I'm not going to sit there and take your money. I'm not going to have a separate checking account that you don't know nothing about. I'm going to sit there and I'm going to do the things we could talk, grown talk. I'm going to do the things that she won't do. That's the kind of stuff, brothers and sisters, that us as brothers are told. But if you already thinking about your 20 women, what's to sit there and stop you from throwing one of them in there? You understand? Because see, when this 20 women that the people was talking about earlier, these 20 black women that will fight, feed, pray, give a ride, not even saying that she would love him. Let's look at that foolishness again so we can sit there and dissect that real quick, right? Let's go back. You notice what this thing misses right here? This whole entire thing here about the black women that this person is desiring among the 20, LOVE is not there. Attraction is not even there. The only thing you're getting out of this is what she can do for you. Not what you can do together, not what you can do for her, but what can she do for you? So the things that are missing is unity, cooperation. Let's understand cooperation. You know, co-op, coexist, interdependency, working one with another. That's not in this kind of aspect. These are the things that we're harping on once it comes down to this, brothers and sisters. So let's go on, if we will, all right, to the next particular part of this. We already went over Luke Campbell, and this is the genre that you get. Because after those 20 women that the person is talking about, after they've been, quote, used, we want to sit there and show where that spirit will take you to once it comes down to that. So after the 20 black women that were driving you around and feeding you, this is where you go. Because you ain't committed to nobody. You're not looking to work in cohesive and as somebody typed in togetherness, in unity. So, voila, this is the result. Next slide, please. The game played the alpha male step. I really hate the myth that black women are hard to deal with. I know 20 black women who will pull up on me right now, capitalize, with the smile if I need it. Feed me, give me a ride, fight for me, pray for me. Not love, not sheer cohesiveness, not be her ear, her EAR. Now, let's look at this right here. King, Massa put his hand on me. Then we see brothers and sisters, never put your hand on a queen as he sits there and knocks that dude the hell out. Do you see that? I do. I'm going to type in 2. Maybe those who care in the room so we can sit back and see the difference between the alpha male, even in a meme, and the man that just want to sit there and play them games. See, the man playing the games is not the one you see right here. And this other meme that we see here. When he is her ears, E-A-R-S, her aznayim, as it says in Hebrew, brothers and sisters, he's going to use his egg rof, which is his fist. And he's going to give a makkah, which is a spanking or beating to the panim, to the face of the lochates. What does lochates mean? The oppressor. You understand? Ka'asher, when? Ha'ish ha shomea ishto, the man who hears his woman. What ka'asher, he's aqualo, and she cries out unto him. Who yishtamesh et egrafo al pene ha lochates. He will use his fist on the oppressor. But the one who's not about that, he's going to sit there and hope she fights for him. He's not going to whoop that man's ass. He's going to sit there, and I have to say, pardon me, he's going to want her to fight for him, and then he gets her ass. Let's understand what we're dealing with, brothers and sisters, so we can understand where we're going in this kind of matter. The sister that has been feeling abandoned, like the aspect of what happened earlier, when there was no man to defend, or who did not defend, Nia Wilson around, Sandra Bland around, brothers and sisters, no black man who won Susan Hart, so she's up there dating the man who sodomized the black man in the bathroom. That is the opposite of this. See, if he's expecting her to fight for him, he's not going to want to sit there and knock that dude the hell out for sitting up there and disrespecting his lady. When she's calling him as a man king is because she sees him as a what? A rosh, a leader, a head. And as we can see right here, brothers and sisters, where the aspect of this here, King Master put his hand on me. And it's cut off, but the part says, never put your hand on a queen. But if you expect her not to be redundant, to fight for you, you'll never be the one knocking son the hell out. You know what you're doing? You're dissing other brothers by saying, how dare you turn around and forget her patience with your ashy ass antics. That's what you're doing. You're trying to sit there and take the now disseminated, depressed, downplayed black man and play on that fact that we have not as men stepped up to sit there and ring a harem of women. That's what you're doing. So my sisters, you got to understand Haruach Hanahash. And for the Kemetic sisters, into Egyptology. Y'all always dealing with that Hebrew. You want to understand the spirit of Apep. Because Apep to ancient Egypt is Nakash to ancient Yisrael. Nakash, what does that mean? Enchanter, sorcerer. That's what that is. The one that's giving you sweet nothings in your ear. He's not going to want to hear you because I don't want to hear you. The only time you're talking, according to this meme, is when you're praying. I know women that will pray for me. I don't mean to sound funny, but most women who pray for a male is the mother of that male. Your mommy will sit there and offer more prayers than your lady would. And you know why? And it's not that there's anything wrong with one praying for another. No, there's nothing wrong with that. But you know why? Because you are not expected to have to protect your mommy. See, in the Torah, it says if a woman, correct me if I'm wrong, if a woman sees a man in a fight and her man is losing the fight, you do know Torah justifies her stepping in for him. It doesn't say she's the first one to set it off or throw the first blow. What Torah says is she cannot go and grab on the scrotum or the penis of the person that is defeating her man. It does not say she cannot clap him, kick him, and so forth and so on. There are stipulations in Torah. If a woman is seeing her man losing a fight, there's stipulations she cannot do. But anything else to defend her loved one, she can do that in Torah. But you know what? It says about all of the men that were 20 years old and upward to go to war. You didn't have it in Hebraic Torah culture that the woman was the first frontier fighter. She wasn't the first one to pick up that sword. The reason why even in America, you got it to where the women started to go into work and all of that is because during World War II, there weren't enough men to sit there and preside for the families. That's why that was. In the 1940s is when women started to sit there and started going into gaining what they call gainful employment like that. Because a lot of the men were deported or shipped off or what have you. You understand? So the time, even in America and in any other society, when a woman is made to, quote, have to step it up, is when there was a lack of men. So when you expect a woman to have to be the one right now to feed you, to give you a ride, and to fight for you, and to pray for you, that's because you don't expect to do those things yourself. See the problem? See the game played? This is what we want to talk about. So when I read this on Facebook, right, and saw the people, the women that were up there applauding this kind of thing, it just goes to show, not hitting on sisters, the actual decrepit situation that we other people are in. That's not going to be the man that she can sit there and, as we spoke of last time, as she's shown here with her arm covering her private parts there, and he's just there like, you know what? I'm going to sit there and handle that, boo. I got you. If he, one more time, in the meme, expects her to fight, he's not going to be the one to throw the blow against the oppressor. So let's go on, if we will, to the next slide, please. Meet Robert Smalls. Born in slavery in 1839, steals a Confederate military ship in 1861, disguises himself as the captain, uses the secret code book and hand signals to pass Confederate guard ships, rescues more slaves and their families, escapes to freedom, runs for Congress, wins. Men about business and a man about playing games. You know who that is? Brothers and sisters, Robert Smalls was in the 1800s in South Carolina. If he was running for Congress and won, he had to know how to read. There were a good amount of black people in the era of slavery, after slavery ended, who did know how to read. And who do we see between Robert Smalls and Robert Smalls? Is a man in Jamaica by the name of Leonard Parkinson. Leonard Parkinson was one of the Maroon leaders that was going against the British in slavery in a place in Jamaica called Trelawney. You may want to look this up. All right. Trelawney is a place in Jamaica where the Maroons in the 1790s was fighting against the British. In the 1600s, that was fighting against the British. In the aspect later on, they made a treaty with the British, brothers and sisters, which didn't always work in favor for everyone in Jamaica. But what they were saying is that the more people they would have had already fighting for the cause, their armies would have been bigger. The Maroons in Jamaica, according to a book by Mavis Campbell called Maroons of Jamaica, brothers and sisters, for every black person that was found killed in slavery in Jamaica, they found anywhere between 8 to 10 dead British soldiers. They were not, quote unquote, playing games in Jamaica once it came down to the liberation. So why did I post the aspect of Leonard Parkinson in Jamaica? and the aspect of Robert Smalls in South Carolina. Because, and I want to say this, the aspect between the disunity between the Black American and the Black West Indian needs to end. You understand? They tried to sit there and hope and play on that disunity, brothers and sisters, so that way we won't sit there and find unity and love one with another. So, brothers and sisters, when you have the aspect of what happened in Haiti prior to what happened in Jamaica, the aspect of what happened in Mexico with the black slaves in the 1520s, brothers and sisters, and all of the uprisings that happened, such as the Stono Rebellion in the 1730s, guess where the Stono Rebellion was at? South Carolina. The Demerara Rebellion that happened in a place called Suriname, which is by Guyana of today. They did not want the quote Black American to hear about the people in the islands or far off that was doing rebellions. When they would sit there and do a rebellion, they would burn the house down. And just like it says in the Bible, everything that breathes shall surely be put to death. So the family cat was killed too. They didn't do what Saul did. Well, we want to sit there and hold on to the animals. No, kill them and their beast. Their beast that they used to go against us. You understand? So these are things that we want to sit there and talk about for edification purposes. Men about business and a man about playing games. And here we see the game played one more time. See, men like Leonard Parkinson that you see there in the middle there with the gun, and men like Robert Smalls, they didn't wait for the women to fight for him. You understand? They didn't sit there and wait, brothers and sisters, for the women to pray for him. They didn't sit there and wait for the women to make him something to eat. All things that are done for you when you cannot do it yourself. This is what you call a kept man. Does anybody know what a kept man is? A kept man is a man that depends on his lady like he did his mommy. See, I had a mother. Mommy fed me. Mommy prayed for me. Mommy went up to the school to sit there and go back and forth with teachers, so she was at least verbally fighting for me. But that's when I was a little boy. That's before I read Babylon and Timbuktu. That's before I read Christianity, Islam, and the Negro race. That's before I read Brothers and Sisters, the Maroons of Jamaica. That's before I read Maroon Societies. That's before I read Brothers and Sisters, Valley of the Dry Bones. That's before I read Brothers and Sisters, They Came Before Columbus. That's before I read a book called Black Indians. That was the era when mommy was reading me bedtime stories when I was 8 years old. When she used to make me the peanut butter and jelly sandwiches and say, may the Creator bless my son in school this day. Keep him from all harm and danger. That's what a mommy does for her son. She didn't expect me to be the one to have to bring in the food. My responsibility was to make sure that the kitchen was straightened up, the bathroom was tidy, and my room was cleaned. And go to school and behave on Shabbat inside of the camp. That's a boy's responsibility. When you become a man, you don't expect brothers and sisters, the women in your life, to do the things your mommy was compelled to do as a mother figure. That's what a kept man is. That's the man that's going to have his lady leave her job early because he got into something and he didn't know how to have the wind behind his own back. He calls her, I've seen it, I've seen this. He calls her at her job and she got to leave early so she could talk to his manager. I have seen that in America, working in security. I got to leave. My man is going through something at his job again. Like, what? You got to leave your job to go to your man's job because he didn't know how to handle something his own self. We're not talking drama with fists or nothing like that. He didn't know how to not have an argument at the job. So, like a mommy, she has to now come in between her man that says, now everything is going to be all right. They don't go home and talk about the drama at work. Yo, I don't believe these cats was that this. Yo, that manager is an asshole, yo. Sometimes that could be pillow talk. But when she got to leave her responsibility to handle her man situation on a situation more than one time a month, that is a kept man. She is his shomeret, his guardian, not his shalom. Let's understand, shamar in Hebrew means to guard or to watch. Shalom means to be complete, and shalom is the other way of saying peace. So shamar meaning to watch. That's the kept man. Shamar also means to keep. She keeps him. She's his guard, G-U-A-R-D. Not his shalom, not his completeness. That's the difference in Hebrew between shamar and shalom. You understand? So this is something we want to talk about for edification purposes. Robert Smalls didn't wait for no woman to sit there and make a step to pray or fight for him to sit there and say, I'm going to do this. Born in slavery, steals a Confederate military ship in 1861. So, brothers and sisters, if he was born in 1839 to 1859, he did this in 1861 in his 20s. He was in his 20s when he did that to a Confederate ship. Sadly, yeah, there were black people fighting on the side of the Confederacy. But he used that to his advantage to do what? Disguises himself as the captain. Uses the secret code book and hand signals to pass Confederate guard ships. That's called intelligence. He's not up there as a kept man hoping, well, I'm going to get one of my 20 women to do this, yo. You understand? That is a weak man, a ish kalash. Learn that word too. The word kalash means weak. It's the same word for sick, S-I-C-K. Because when you're weak, you're sick. You understand? That's an ish kalash, not an ish kazak. What does kazak mean? Strong. So we're learning some verbs here. Shamar, Shalom, Kalash, Kazak. Robert Smalls was an Ish Kazak. Leonard Parkinson was an Ish Kazak. The person who is promoting this lie in the meme is an Ish Kalash, an Ish Nishmerah. Ish Nishmerah. No disrespect intended for those who really know what I just said in Hebrew. Let's break that down. Nish Marah. Shamar. Right? Nish Marah. From Shamar, the past participle of it. But you hear the Nishmara, the feminine, a man who wants his woman to have him kept. Hey, baby. Hey, baby. I know it's 1 p.m., but I'm going to need you right now. He's not going to sit there and say, you know what? I'm going to get this cab. I'm going to get this Uber. If he don't have a license and if he can't drive or don't have a car to drive, he's going to sit there and expect her to do it. Just like when I was a young man, Mommy, can I get a token for the train or the bus now? I'm 9 years old. I could take the B44 bus to the B41 bus to Kings Plaza with my friends, please. Please, Mommy. There are grown men who talk like that to their women. That's what the shitty ass meme is presenting, man. Just like when I was a child, going to my mother, Mommy, can I get a token on this Sunday? I was good in school this week. I behaved myself at the Knesset on Shabbat. Can I get this token so I can take the B44 bus to the B41? Mommy, I'll give you the parents' numbers of my friends. Mommy, please. That's when I was 9 years old. You got men that are 30s and 40s still going to their woman the same way a boy would have went to his own mother. That's what this presents right here, because he expects her to fight and feed and ride and do this and so forth and so on. He ain't promoting shit for him to do for her. Real talk. He, in this whole thing, is not promoting anything to be her ears, to be her shoulder to cry on, to be the person that we see right here, that she knows she can talk to him and he gonna knock son the hell out. She cannot confide in him in the sense of security that women look for. That is the problem with this meme. So when my little girl is 12 and I see that there are grown women online in their 30s and their 40s supporting this nonsense, I'm scared for my child. In 10 years, she'll be 22. Maybe a married and a mother by then. Is she going to get the kind of man like Robert Smalls? And what am I doing as the father in her life to sit there and show the aspect between, if we will, the intelligence and the professionalism of Robert Smalls and know when to pick the piece up like Leonard Parkinson? The mixture between being a soldier and being a scholar. You may have to sit there as a father and play both roles. This is the importance of that. So this coochie seeking, vagina wet looking man that you want to sit there and think this is a role model, black women, no, it is not. We showed Luke that's what he wants to get the sisters to doing, his 20 women. A man in no way, shape, form, or fashion is going to sit there and be able to be happy with 20 women. So somebody getting played. Let's go in, if you will, to the next slide. All right. Strong men and the weak man. The first colored senator and representatives in the 41st and 42nd Congress of the United States. This is in the 1800s. Brothers and sisters, these are black men that were being shown as part of the political party that was standing up and speaking to the best of their understanding and knowledge for black people. They wasn't making memes. I'm assuming, sorry if I have to, that some of their mothers may have passed away. So they don't have that mommy no more to make them the peanut butter and jelly sandwich. They don't have that mommy no more. I remember this, and this is going to be as raw as I can. My mother, and is, if I may say her name, Bathsheba Yisrael, knew who my mother was from the congregation in the Bronx, if I can go a bit personal in that particular regard. My mother told me when I was 9 years old. This is for those who know Brooklyn, in a place they now call Flatbush Gardens. It was called Vanderveer back in the 1980s. I was 9 years old, and I remember my mother telling me, can I get a 2 if I can be heard? Because this is going to be something that I never expect to come from my mother. May she rest in peace now. Can I get a 2 if I'm able to be heard, brothers and sisters and elders included? She told me, when you, son, get a woman in your life and y'all have a problem, don't come to me. And here it is, excuse me, I'm still in the ass whooping era. 9 years old. Oh my gosh, where's my change at? I don't believe you did this, boy. You understand? Where were you at? You stayed out late. Son, I hope you have fun staying out late because you ain't going out tomorrow. That was the same era of then. Stayed out late, stay in the next day. Ate too many cookies, rest of them go in the garbage. That's the kind of mother I had. You get 3 cookies and this before you go to sleep as a snack. You eat 4, the rest of them go in the garbage. And she took it and threw it in the garbage. And it was my responsibility to take the garbage to the incinerator. So I'm throwing out the rest of that. It set a discipline, an order, and structure, even with a cookie, if you will. But this is what she told me when I was 9 years old. She said, when you get older, son, and you get a woman, and y'all have a problem, don't come to me. This is the woman, like I said, at that time, I had to go to her for everything. So when I'm being told that when I get older, a grown man, and I have a problem with my lady, that I can't go to mommy? No. And I was like, well, mommy, why not? And her words were, because your woman will ask you, what is your mother giving you? And I know exactly what she meant. And I said, mommy, a woman, she said, I guess a woman would say that. In layman terms, sorry, get off your mother's breast. We're going to keep the language clean. My mother told me that a lady in my life, if I have a problem with the lady in my life and I go, mama, I got a problem, that woman will lose respect for me. I was like, but I go to you for everything. You're 9, not 29. You understand? You're 9, not 19 and going to move out eventually on your own. You're 9, not 39, because see, as the older you get, your parents get older. Well, Ma, I'm now 24. I'm now 26. And she's 26 years older too. You understand? So the point I'm emphasizing in this is the difference between the mindset of one that is strong and the mindset of one that wants to seek strength in a woman. Men don't seek strength in women. Men seek comfort and completeness, not strength. You are her strength, not the other way around. You understand? Let's part in this. Samuel Sharp, Jamaican national hero. This is the guy, brothers and sisters, in the 1830s that went against the British in Jamaica. He was an Igbo man, shipped to Jamaica from Nigeria. And in the 1830s, he led a group of, I believe I read 20 or 30,000 people in Jamaica to go against the British, a Jamaican national hero. Now let's look at the congressman that you see right here, and let's look at Samuel or Sam Sharp, as some say Daddy Sharp, right? Can we see these men here looking for a woman to fight for him? No. He became the national hero in Jamaica because of what he was putting down as rules and regulations in leading people. This is not knocking women, because there are some strong women. Harriet Tubman was one of them. But you know, Harriet Tubman rolled with a group of men that were also packing pistols. This is how Harriet Tubman, may she rest in peace, had it set up. She'll be in the front, the people being led behind her, and on the right-hand side of them, and on the left-hand side of them, in the front, right, and in the front, left, the right back and the left back. They were one man each, and each of them had their own pistol. One story during the march to the north, Harriet Tubman reiterated after the Civil War or so, right, that somebody said they were tired and decided while they was marching and walking and so forth to go from the line and lay down. Word was Harriet Tubman gave the order, and one of the men took out his pistol, put it to the guy's head, Dead Men Tell No Tales. Harriet Tubman said, wow, he just got stressed and just kept right on walking like nothing happened. See, that's how you deal sometimes with weak men that were slaves. This is not to knock the men that were just coming out of slavery or they knew born in slavery, but you have to give tough love sometimes. But the generation we're dealing with now in 2019, that's brothers and sisters want to come with the foolishness that we see here. When you expect a woman to do the things as a mommy did, and you still expect her to give you, excuse me, nookie or sex at night, when she got to be your mother at the day, that is ancestral mentality. If your woman is doing things for you just like your mommy had to, and you expect to be carnal with her at night, that is a mental form of incest. We want to understand, brothers and sisters, what we're talking about. You cannot, as a man, expect mommy to have to sit there and do the things that she did for you as a son for you to get that same thing from your woman. She's not your Ima. She's not your mother. She's your Isha. That's another Hebrew word. Isha, meaning wife or woman. Ima, which means mother. You know the difference? Because your mommy can pop you, pluck. My mother slapped me many times, plucked me many times. For those who know, may she rest in peace, it got to the point one time my mother just straight up pushed me. I was getting too big for her. I did something. She's like, I can't hit you. Just push. You understand? And so I understand now we're talking about Jamaica and other places. They didn't do what they did in Brooklyn. Go get me the belt. You got the switch from outside. Am I lying or am I off? They didn't use the belt to sit there and spank their children in the islands. They went outside to the woods and got the switch. In North America, you went to the closet and got the belt. You understand? Sometimes mommy has that child doing that. Now, does your Isha or your lady or your wife, does she spank you like mommy? Does your wife spank you like your mommy? Does your wife put you in a corner like your mommy? Does your mommy's, pardon me, does your lady say, I don't even want to sit there and hear you right now, you're getting on my nerves. But if you're not the alpha male, she gonna come at you like that because she gonna deal with you the way you deal with her. You understand? So there's a difference between Isha and Ima. You didn't know? Let's go over that. As the saying goes, like to see it, here it go. All right, let's look. We have Isha. Right? Just want to show this for edification purposes. Isha in the red. And with the pin in the yellow, we have Ima. There's a difference. And like I said, what my mother told me, may she rest in peace. Son, when you get older and you get an Isha, and you and your Isha have a problem, don't come to me, your mother. That's your business. There are men, and I know them. There are men that have a falling out with their lady, and the first person they call is their mother. Your mother already put a time in, bruh. Let mommy enjoy the retirement of parenthood. She raised you to the best of her ability. You understand? The men that you see right here, that was in the Congress, and Samuel Sharp, Leonard Parkinson, Robert Smalls, something tells me they didn't look to their mommy eventually. The Bible says, therefore a man shall leave his father and his mother and cleave to his wife, and they shall be one flesh. You don't bring your mommy into marriage. That's your mother-in-law. That's her mother-in-law. But you get your own tent, brothers and sisters. See, Jacob, when he was living under Laban, he still had his own tent. But if you expect the woman to be the one here to what? What does it say here? Feed you, give you a ride, fight for you, and pray for you. You ain't thinking about putting her up in the house. You're not thinking about, you expect her to give you the ride. So you ain't going to say, you know what? I don't have a car. You don't have a car. If we're going to meet up, I'm going to make sure you get home. Cab, Uber, Lyft, Juno, whatever people care to use. No, he's going to send her back on a bus or train because he's looking for one that's going to give him a ride. So he ain't thinking about what he can do for her. See the problem? That's your kept man. The game and the matter. CRIP, Community Revolution and Progress. It was an acronym. Blood, brotherly love, overcoming oppression and destruction. Let's get back to this. Now, this is something I just wanted to point out about Bloods and Crips in the unity. You see what this meme right here says in the blue? The acronym of Crip and Blood, and then it says, let's get back to this. That is a proposed solution as opposed to being against each other. See the foolishness with this game when it talks about your ashy ass antics and all of that right there. You're not proposing a solution to the problem that black men don't get along one with another, and certainly with their sisters. The bottom meme says, in taking, you're going to be flagging that blue. You're going to want to be rocking your flag, that blue. You want to be that Damu, which is interesting because Bloods call themselves Damu. And the Hebrew word for blood is Dam. But in Swahili, Damu means blood. But that's a whole nother subject about the linguistics between Swahili and Hebrew. That's a whole nother aspect. What we're getting into this right here, nonetheless, right, is that it shows the aspect while taking that same warrior kind of spirit, ready to fight kind of spirit, and showing it being unified. That's a proposed solution. So when it talks about let's get back to what the Bloods and the Crips were originally about, that is a better meme than saying that the black man is coming with ashy ass antics. Next slide. The government infiltrated the Bloods and Crip movement, which is why they turned from groups protecting their neighborhoods to gangs who started to kill each other. But you dumb asses somehow still believe governmental involvement is a stretch? Okay, that was a harsh meme. But the point, brothers and sisters, is this. The game and the matter. Bloods and Crips unite. We are calling on the gangs across the nation. Attack everything in blue except the mailman unless he is carrying more than mail. We are calling on every gang, Crips and Bloods, and gangster across the four corners. We're familiar with the term four corners, aren't we, Israel? To put in some work because these racist crackers have put themselves in your business. It is time for the Crips and Blood to shed some blood. And I'm not condoning violence. I'm talking about that same gangster mentality. You know, the one that sits there and knocks out the oppressor. No, what I'm saying, Dr. Pardon me if I mispronounce it, Barissim Lay Malari, African American Defense League Organization for Afro-American Unity 2016. Brothers and sisters, the game that's being purported right here about the aspect of her fighting for you is never going to get people to do what we see right here with a unity between black men who were against each other. That's the problem. We're dealing with a kept, henpecked man that wants the woman to do everything for him. We're going to conclude out, and I want to read something that was stated in the beginning of this, right? So that way we can gain an understanding of what we're talking about for edification purposes, right? For those who joined on later, this is going to be uploaded so you can see what we were talking about and what we were dealing with. All right? Last time we explained that the idea of a man saying he knows 20 black women that will feed him, fight for him, give him a ride, and pray for him is a man that is weak. You know, the word kalash that we went over. This is due to the fact that an alpha male will not want a woman to do certain things for him. He will want to, if anything, impress her, not wait for her to do for him. This middle paragraph right here is what we want to emphasize on. He's going to want to do things for her, not wait for her to do things for him. And with that, I say shalom. If anyone was taken off guard due to some of the linguistics that was used, I do apologize. And with that, there will be a part 3, creator willing. We're going to work on it and present it to the people in time. Shalom. Like, share, subscribe. Have a good night. Peace to everybody.